welcome back to my kitchen and happy 2023, guys. Hard to believe we are kicking off a new year, and what better way to start it than with a new sandwich that I have created for my good friends over at the Coffee Madness channel. If you guys are not following them, please follow the link down in the description and check out their channel. They are dedicated to bringing laughter, or at least a little bit of laughter, into everybody's lives. And I'll tell you, with the last couple of years that we've had, we could certainly use more laughter. The sandwich I'm going to be creating today is a Chipotle chicken marinated chicken breast on top of a Chipotle hamburger bun, topped off with a white egg omelet and a little bit of pepper jack cheese. This sandwich is to die for, trust me, guys. Just wait until we get into it. And I'm going to be doing that by starting off with the marinade. The first thing we need to do is open up our chipotle peppers. And I'll be adding about 5 of them, leaving behind as much as the adobo sauce as I can. We'll be using that in our hamburger bun. So you can tailor the heat factor in this marinade by the amount of chipotle peppers you add. If you want less heat, add about 3 to 4 peppers. If you want more heat, add 4 to 5. So that was 3. Let's get out 2 more. I do like it a little on the spicy side, and I always go for the 5 peppers. I'll be reserving the adobo sauce for our hamburger buns, so those are going to go off to the side. I've got 4 garlic cloves that I've just roughly chopped up. Those will go in next. In here I've got a half a teaspoon of cumin, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, and a half a teaspoon of salt. Those go in. And then we're also going to need 2 tablespoons of honey. And last to go in is 6 tablespoons of olive oil. All I have left to do is take this over to the blender base and pulverize all my ingredients. Once you have your marinade mixed up, it's time to start marinating the chicken. And all I've done to these chicken breasts is remove them from the bone, and then I lightly scored them with about 3 scores on top of each breast. That'll just help that marinade soak down a little bit into the chicken meat itself, underneath that skin. I'm leaving the skin on for added protection while it's baking. And into a plastic Ziploc bag goes both of my chicken breasts. Whoops. Unless one of them decides to roll away, then he doesn't go in so well, but I have managed to wrangle him in. And right on top is going to go the marinade. Now that I have the marinade in the bag, you want to make sure you push out all the air and zip it closed. Once you have that zipped closed, go in there and really massage the chicken and get that marinade up into those cut sides. You want to make sure your chicken is completely coated in the marinade. And now this is going to go into a bowl in case my bag fails, and into the refrigerator for as a minimum amount of time as about 4 hours, preferably overnight. The longer this sits in the marinade, the better this chicken gets. All right. While the chicken is marinating in the oven, it's time to move on to making our Chipotle hamburger buns. In my stand mixer, I'm going to add 3/4 cups of warm water, as well as 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast, or that's equivalent to 1 package. Next in goes 2 chipotle peppers that I've very finely diced up, and 3 tablespoons of the adobo sauce that we reserved from the marinade. Next in goes 1 egg, followed by 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Next in goes 3 cups of flour. Today I'm using bread flour, but you can also use all-purpose. It works just as well. Now that I have the flour in, I'm going to be adding in 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. And then now we need to start mixing our bread dough together. After I got the 3 cups of flour in, I did check it and it's still a little bit too tacky for me. So I've added in just a little bit more flour, probably about 1/4 of a cup. I'll start mixing this in. You can add in up to an additional 1 cup of flour to achieve a dough that doesn't stick to your fingers when you touch it. After kneading for 5 minutes on the mixer, I'm going to remove the dough. Oh, it's a beautiful dough. It feels really nice. Doesn't stick to my hands. We've got plenty of flour in here. I'm going to spray the inside of my bowl, plop our bread ball right back in there, or dough ball back in the center, spray it again on top so it doesn't dry out, and then cover this with plastic wrap or a disposable shower cover. Now that this is covered, it needs to go into a warm, draft-free place for about 1 to 2 hours or until it doubles in size. I always find popping it in the oven with the light on creates the best proofing environment. Now that the dough has doubled in size, it's time to remove it from the bowl and shape it into a ball. Now that we have our little ball of dough here in the center, I want to divide it into 8 equal pieces, or roughly equal pieces. And the easiest way I've found to do that is to go straight down the middle and then flip this one around, down the middle again, and then 1 time more in the middle, and that will give me 4 little sections, triangles, from each half of our dough. Now that the dough's divided, I do like to pat it out just a little bit and then roll it back up into a ball. Pinch the bottom off, and then using the palm of my hand, just applying a little bit of pressure in a circular motion and until the bottom has smoothed out and it's perfectly round. Doesn't take very long to do that, and once you do, put it over onto a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. I'll show you one more time how I like to shape my hamburger buns. Just pat it out and then roll it up into a ball. Bring the bottom up, pinch it closed, and then down using the palm of my hand with some gentle pressure in a circular motion. Doesn't really take very long for these to get shaped, which I think that one looks good as well. And it goes over onto my parchment lined cookie sheet. And I'm going to continue shaping all my hamburger buns. Now that I have all the hamburger buns shaped, it's time for their second rise. I like to cover them with a lint-free cloth, and these are going to just hang out on top of my stove while I preheat my oven to 375 degrees for the next 30 minutes or so. Now that these have risen for an additional 30 minutes, we can move on to the last step, which is to brush them with some melted butter and sprinkle on just a few sesame seeds across the top. This is totally optional. You can leave this out, but I do like sesame seeds, so I will be adding these to the tops of my hamburger buns. Now that I have all my buns seated, it's time for them to go into a 375 degree oven where they're going to bake for roughly 15 to 18 minutes or until they turn a light golden brown. Now that our hamburger buns are out of the oven and cooling down, and it's been, I don't know, about 6 hours or so, I've gone ahead and removed the chicken from the marinade, and now it's time to bake it off. You've got about 3 options here. You can either take this out and grill it out on a grill until it's done. You can do this in an air fryer, which is actually my preferred method, or you can do what I'm going to be doing today and bake it in the oven on 375 degrees. But no matter how you choose to bake or cook the chicken, you'll want to cook it until it reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. The chicken breasts are out of the oven, and I did put them under the broiler for about the last 2 to 3 minutes just to get a little bit of a char on top. These need to rest, so in the meantime I'm going to go ahead and make up the sauce that I'm going to be topping our sandwich off with. In here I have a couple of tablespoons of mayo, to which I'm going to add a little bit of my favorite hot sauce to it. You can add as much or as little of that as you like. Also want to add just a little tiny dash of black pepper. And a little pinch of salt. Not very much. It doesn't need a lot. Alright, this gets stirred together and goes back into the refrigerator until we are ready to use it. It's time to start preparing our sandwich for assembly, and I've done that by lightly buttering the top part of my bun. And now I just need to do the bottom section. And these can both sit in here and lightly toast up. Now that the bun's toasted, go ahead and remove it from the pan. The last thing I'm going to be doing for our sandwich is making an egg white omelet. In here I have 2 egg whites that I've added just a touch of milk to. Melted up a little bit of butter, and in goes our eggs. A little bit of pepper. And a little bit of salt. After a few minutes, it should be mostly set. So I want to add a little bit of a chopped green onion. This is going to add a little bit of freshness to our sandwich. That looks pretty good to me. And now I want to fold my egg whites over in half. Very gently. And over one more time so it will fit neatly on top of the sandwich. Turn off your heat and then place a slice of pepper jack cheese right on top. That's going to help it melt. And with that, it is a time to assemble our sandwich. I'm going to start the sandwich out by layering on thinly sliced pieces of the chicken breast. And then topping it with our egg white omelet. And then finally a good healthy dollop of our sauce that we've made. There we go. And top it all off. And now we are ready to try it. Although a lot of my sesame seeds fell off. I'm a little bit sad about that. My Chipotle chicken sandwich has been inspired by Coffee Madness channel. It is ready for us to try, and I am so ready to dig in here. That bite right there looks perfect, so let's go in. Well, now that I've inhaled half of the sandwich, I can tell you exactly how good it is. Definitely not too spicy. That hamburger bun really does take it over the top. So whether you make it for this sandwich or if you just make it for your regular hamburgers, I really definitely recommend that you give this recipe a try. The marinade on the chicken is spicy, but not too spicy. You would think with all the chipotles I've added in here, this thing would blow your head off, but it absolutely doesn't. All the flavors have mellowed out very nicely into a nice cohesive sandwich. I really do like the egg whites on here. I mean, you could go with a whole egg and just fry it up. That would be delicious as well. But I really do like just the egg whites on here. I think it takes it to a whole new level. I really do also like the addition of the fresh onions. It adds just a little bit of freshness and brightness to the sandwich that it needs. Overall, this is an absolutely amazing sandwich, and I do really hope you try this recipe out at some point. Please be sure to go over and check out my good friends over at the Coffee Madness channel. I will be leaving a link down in the description to their channel. They are two amazing guys trying to bring a little bit of happiness and lightness and laughter into the world. And like I said earlier, we really do need that after the last couple of years that we've had. But if you do try this recipe out, let me know how it turned out for you. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a comment down below. And as always, thank you all so very much for joining me today. I've been Volker. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.